Hi, Patrick here from Have Cheetah Will View. And, me and the Cheetah, we decided to take a visit um, for this review. We decided to pick up and watch a movie that I got from the library. Most of the time, when I pick up a movie, and this is the hunter's thing in me, I'll get it and then I'll put it on the shelf and it'll sit there for months or years or whatever until I actually pick it up and watch it. But I was actually really curious about this movie quite a bit, and so my curiosity won out, and me and Paladin sat and watched Spiral from the Book of Saw. Big fan of the Saw franchises, at least through the first three movies. The first three movies are my favorite. They sort of lost me after the third one when they killed Dina Meyer's character. I was just like, that sort of sucks. Uh, the first two are absolutely brilliant movies. Two is probably a little bit better than one. So I do like the Saw movies. I didn't watch any of the other ones. I heard that they're all trap centric. Everybody wanted to watch it just for the traps, and so they sort of got lost with the story. So I didn't watch any of the other Saw movies after three. Um, so picking this back up to watch, I was actually did it because like I was really encouraged by a lot of the people who watched the movie and thought it was really good, and they're really speaking highly of it, and so they got my curiosity up. And like I said, a lot of people were giving thumbs up, they were raving about it, and so yeah, I was like, you know what, let's watch this movie now and share some thoughts. Um, so the movie itself, the plot is pretty simple. It it's basically almost like a Saw movie. It's set at the time that John Kramer is actually alive. That he is actually during the time. It's not a sequel. It's not a reboot. It's a parallel story. So they don't exactly say when the story's taking place in relation to the other movies, but I do think it's probably after the third movie, for sure, for sure. John Kramer's still alive. They do a little bit of showing you a picture of Tobin Bell as John Kramer, so you see that there, and so you know that he's still alive, and it's it's not a sequel. So the story starts off with a cop who is chasing a thief down a subway, down a subway, down a tunnel. Um, sort of remind me a little bit of the scene in Superman where the cop is chasing Otis down the subway tunnel. It had that it had that sort of look to it. The cop even wore a hat, like uh, uh, the cop did in well, maybe not. Maybe he didn't wear a cap. I thought he did. I thought he wore a cap. I have to go back and look at that. But anyway, sort of remind me of that. And the cop is suddenly jumps out and grabs him. Um, and he wakes up and he is suspended over the subway track. And he is in a wicked looking trap, the tongue trap. His tongue is out there and he's locked in. And the only way he can get out is he has to jump off he has to basically rip his own tongue off, in order to supposedly live. Personally, is he wasn't going to live if he jumped that. He could have jumped it from right then and there. He was going to bleed out. Um, well, anyway, that's the case. That's the trap, and he has to jump. He has to jump off the the ladder in order to save his life. The reason why his tongue is targeted is because he's lied for many of his convictions. There's a disembodied voice who comes on a television set and tells him what he has to do in order to save his life, and tells him why he's there. So, well, obviously he's not making it. So then we meet the main character, which is Chris Rock. He is playing he's playing Detective Zeke Banks, and he's an honest cop. He's one of the last honest cops in his precinct, and so that causes him a lot of grief with his fellow cops. They just see him as a snitch or unreliable. He's gotten shot for being truthful. Yeah, he's like a one man army in a sea of corruption. Um, but his captain really likes him and really believes in him, and she's probably also really she's also really a stand up cop too. Though, as we see, the killer doesn't necessarily think so. Uh, Zeke is he runs a one man operation, and he almost gets killed by his fellow cops because they don't know that he's undercover, and so his captain pulls him in and dresses him down for being a maverick and doing things by himself, and so she assigns him a partner, a detective William Schenck, and played by Max Minghella. And of course, Chris Rock being the Maverick, he doesn't really want a partner. He doesn't trust anybody. He's already knows what his fellow cops are. He can't be trusted. They're corrupt. But Max Minghella is a rookie, but he really wants to be there. He wants to he wants to make a difference. He tells Zeke that his father, Marcus Banks, who was a former chief, is the reason why he became a cop. And so the two slowly bond during the time, and as they try to solve these murders, and they're noticing that there's a pattern here. The killer is after cops. He is killing cops. So he is targeting them, and they're trying to figure out who's doing it. And so and you see Marcus, and he has he doesn't have the best relationship with his dad, but they're cordial to each other. They do love each other. His dad is played by Samuel L. Jackson, and so the cases, they follow they follow the trail. The Jigsaw killer is leaving them clues, including a spiral, and like I said, they're killing the different cops, and I won't give any details of which cops die and how they die. It's just that they're after them. And so it finally comes down to where Zeke himself is kidnapped and by the killer, and he wakes up, and he is shocked to see what he sees, which is including his dad is strung up in a trap, and he has to figure out how to save him if he can. Yeah, that's really the small plot. I mean, you really can't go too deep into it, otherwise you just ruin it. I'm not really into spoilers. So I'm just going to talk about what I thought about the movie, and the acting and whatnot. And the first thing I'm going to say is congratulations to Chris Rock. I mean, he really wanted to do the movie. In the special features, it tells how the movie was made, and that really was Chris Rock. He was at an event with Lionsgate. He went to the heads of Lionsgate and he said, "Hey, I want to do a Saw movie. I want to do something. I want to do a Saw movie." And it's like, Chris Rock coming up there and saying, "Yeah, I want to do something." And so they said, "Yeah, that'd be great." And of course, with Chris Rock, he also brought Samuel Jackson. Samuel Jackson came on in and really made the project fly. So you had two big stars coming in there and got the movie going. Chris Rock actually wrote part of the story, and one of the smart things they did for sure, Chris Rock did for sure when they sat down and talked about the movie, was they brought back Darren Lynn Bousman as director. Darren Lynn Bousman has directed the three most profitable movies, which is 2, 3, and 4. They're the top 3 drawing movies. I know, I thought 1 would have been up there, but no, 2, 3, and 4 are they're the most profitable. They made the biggest box office. So they brought back Darren Lynn Bousman back, and I've noticed, I mentioned this before with Darren Lynn Bousman, is like when he's inspired to direct, he's really good. I mean, he is an A-class director when he's motivated. Now I've seen some movies where he hasn't been, and the movie has suffered. Like when he has no really vested interest, like someone hires him to do a movie, and he has no, he's not producing it, he's not writing it, he's not casting it, he's just there to direct the movie. Sometimes he himself even said it in a commentary. He's just a hired gun, so he's not really vested. But he was in this movie, um, and it really shows on screen. Um, the credit for the writers for the movie are Josh Stolberg and Pete Goldfinger, and with help with Chris Rock, because he went through it too. And it's really funny is that Chris Rock, he really made a point of like, yes, I'm a comedian, but this is not a funny movie. I don't want any jokes in it. I don't want jokes. And um, and he went through the script over and over and over. He says, "No, I don't want to do that. I don't, I'll go over it and I'll add my own little touch there. We can have a couple of lines be funny or whatnot, but it's not a funny movie." And he's right. It's not. It's a very dark movie. It's very suspenseful. It does not play out like a horror movie. I'll tell you that right now. If you go into this movie expecting to see a horror movie, you're not going to get that. You're going to get that. Yes, they have the traps, the saw traps, and they are pretty frightening, including the last one. The last one is absolutely insane, brilliant. Um, but it's not a horror movie. It's more of a suspense thriller. It's a cop movie. It is, uh, and they really wanted it to be that way. They did not want. They said over and over and over, "We are not doing a Saw movie. We're not doing that. We're doing something different." Underneath the guise of Saw, because the title of the movie is from the book of Saw, so it's not a Saw movie. It's almost like it's a derivative of it. It's just a different angle of it, and it works. Um, Chris Rock does a really fine job. You wondered about that. Would he be able to pull it off? Like with his voice, because he's got a really distinctive voice, and everybody's used to him cracking jokes with it. Would they take him seriously as in a dramatic role? And I gotta tell you that I did. I believed him. He wasn't funny. Yeah, he had a couple of funny lines, but he wasn't funny. Um, his cop is very driven, bitter. He's definitely bitter um, about what has happened to him, but he still believes in the system. Um, Samuel L. Jackson, he didn't have that much to do. I wish there had been a little bit more for him to do, but I'm sure like they mentioned before, that the movie really helped got made because of Samuel Jackson. I mean, Chris Rock is good, but Samuel Jackson is bigger, so it really helped. And I think Samuel Jackson came in and did it as a favor for Chris Rock, and so I don't think I think they just kept this part small for budget concerns. The two other main actors, Max Minghella was great as his partner William Shank, and in a really surprise turn, I really liked this too, was Marisol Nichols from Riverdale. She played the captain, Angie Garza. She was really good. Well, she was good in Riverdale too. She really was. She was good in that, but it was good seeing her, get a really meaty role, and nice. And she was very efficient. Good role. The pacing of the movie's great. The traps are laid out nice. They're not, you're not looking for the next trap. As soon as one person gets killed, you're not looking for the next one. They don't do that. They stretch it out. Um, the movie is only 90 minutes long, but it plays longer. It feels a little bit longer because the story's a little bit more involved. Um, the lighting and the way the cinematography was done on the movie was great. You got the colors, and you got the oppressive heat, and you could see that everywhere. It was just a hot summer in the city. Everybody's tempers are on point. Like they're really frustrated with how with their and that now these cops are getting killed, in a worst possible way. Um, it's you know they did a really nice job. Um, I really like the fact that idea that they did not fall into the trap of the traps. They did not bring John Kramer in, other than that little picture. They didn't mention any of the other movies. It's a standalone movie. Um, I can see why this movie was liked. Um, am I gonna say this is the best Saw movie? No, no, not at all. It's solid. I also took a little bit of disagreement with when the commentary they're mentioning how they got two really big stars to come in there and do this movie to help drive it. You know, they never had anybody bigger than these two. I disagree with that. Danny Glover definitely is on. You know, definitely. You know, if I'm looking at the rank of actors here, it's going to be maybe Samuel Jackson here, but Danny Glover's here, and then Chris Rock. So you can't really sit there and say you never had any star power to it. And Carrie Always has done a lot of good, strong movies as well. So I really couldn't just I sort of disagreed with that. Like it wasn't dependent to make this movie on these two. Um, they didn't carry the movie because Samuel Jackson was not in it that much. Max Minghella he lifted the same amount of weight as Chris Rock did. His character had to be effective in order to make the movie work, and it was. So as far as the commentary, without Samuel Jackson, this movie would not have been nearly as good or impactful. I disagree with that, but that's just a personal opinion. Um, do we recommend this movie? Yeah, we recommend it. We thought it was a lot of fun. Um, I love the fact that Chris Rock went after it. He really was driven for this, and more power to him because he did a nice job. And Lionsgate pushed back the film. They believed in the film so much they kept on pushing it back through the pandemic. They didn't release it through a streaming service or anything. They just said, "Listen, we're going to give you guys the release that you deserve." And so they got their release, and the movie did very well for considering the pandemic. Uh, Definitely pick it up. Chris Rock is like I said, he is definitely the star of the show. Um, he can do drama. I hope this leads to something else for him to do. He mentioned that he hadn't done it. He hadn't held a gun in a role since Lethal Weapon 4 or 3. I mean, was it maybe 4? But that's how long it's been. I can't even remember myself. But it's been like 20 years since he actually held a gun, in a dramatic role. So he wants to do more serious roles, and someone should let him. So our review is that yes, we both gave Sprial a thumbs and a paw straight up, and we definitely think you should get it. You can get this at any box and mortar, brick and mortar store, or Amazon, or eBay, or even your local library. All right, so that's it for us. Thanks for listening to our review of Sprial, and I'm going to put links down below where you can get the movie and the database and the trailer and all that other good jazz. So yeah, thanks a lot for watching. If you liked what you heard, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell, and drop a comment. Let us know what you think of our review of Sprial. All right, until the next one, peace.